Hey guys, this is Jeff with Bauer & Sons Contracting here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Also Build It, Flip It, Rent It, our YouTube channel. And we just finished up a pole barn for a client of ours, but this is a pretty nice barn, not just the average pole barn. And wanted to give you a couple pointers on how do you take a barn and make it just a little bit nicer. Well, there's a few things you can do. Some are expensive, some are not so expensive. And we'll walk them through with you. Hopefully you'll be inspired. And this is what I would call a next level building. Couple things to note one more time. This is how we do our building. If you look here, we're still using a 3-ply 2x6. They're finger jointed, glued, screwed. These are our green posts made by Richland out of Ohio. Don't all you guys order them because then they're gonna back order and I won't be able to get my posts, okay? But it's the same construction that we do everywhere else. You've still got 2x12 headers, hurricane brackets. So the construction is the same. One big way that's a game changer for a building to go from just a barn to a more solid structure is we did sheet the walls and the roof on here. So we do have OSB up on that roof. Now we had to because this is a shingled roof. And obviously you gotta have that OSB for the shingles and then there's tar paper on top of it. But here's those simple things that you can do. These are very inexpensive. Number one, you want to make your building just a smidge nicer. Look at the windows. Add some grid. Buy a window that has grid inside of it. What are you talking? 25 bucks, $50 per window? It's not real crazy. The other thing that I think is super cute is these little baby windows. These are called barn sash windows, and they're only 2 foot by 2 foot. They're dirt cheap. I mean, I think they might be $50 per window. They don't have a real strong, R value to them. But if you're just going for a little bit of extra light and you want it to look cute, and you'll see it from the outside, this is just the inside look. The other thing that makes this barn really a cut above is obviously you see the yellow wall. So we went with a 2-inch spray foam. We have a video about closed cell spray foam. I happen to be a fan of closed cell spray foam at this point. I like that it is structural. So, this stuff is rock solid and it really actually adds some genuine density to the building. Now, if you look in here, this is actually pretty cool. Next week, we're gonna have our guys back and we're gonna have the whole building wrapped with liner panel inside. So it'll be a bright white liner panel. And some of you are looking at this going, what in the world is this weird framing that they have in? Our client came back in, someone in their family helped them with the electric work, and it looks like they added this additional bracing. You can probably guess it's gonna be a basketball hoop. This will be really cool when it's done. We're gonna have our guys hang the basketball hoop up for them. But problem that we get to fix, and that is, what do we do with all these windows? So we have two solutions. The first solution is these windows up top, those little barn sash windows, we actually got sheets of plexiglass, like 1/4-inch thick plexi. And when the guys put the liner panel in, I'm gonna have them basically do that liner panel and then frame in that plexiglass just to add a little protection in case the balls, kind of bounce up there. Now, these windows here, these guys, what we're doing is we're looking at a custom grate to be fabricated. So we're gonna do a wrought iron grate. So eventually you'll imagine all this covered with white liner panel, and then here we're gonna do a wrought iron, posted here, and have these windows covered. Because we're also gonna do a batting cage and there'll be a lot of activity in the building. So let's step outside. I wanna show you a couple really cool things we added. Now, this particular building comes in as a higher end pole barn. It is a post frame. You can see the post, so it's a pole barn technically. However, this one has vinyl siding, so it did require us to get our sheets of OSB on the side, which increases the cost. Before you build, don't forget, if you're doing vinyl siding, don't forget your J blocks. You got to get a handful of these J blocks in there and make sure you think through where you're going to put them, where you're going to put your outlets on the outside, where you might run a hose bib, and where you're going to hang your lights after the construction is finished. At very minimal labor, you could take really any building and just go and snag a couple $100 in some PVC trim, and look at how much prettier it makes your door. Just to add this in, now you're just gonna run your J-channel up to it and throw this stuff on here. You still have your metal inside for your overhead door wrap, but the PVC trim really dressed it up. And then we added the corbels. They're only decorative. The corbels are very inexpensive, but they add a nice flair. We also added what's called an eyebrow. You know, maybe you guys call them something different, but we just call it an eyebrow. For the time and the labor involved and the extra shingles, realistically, you may have a few $100s, you know, at most in adding something like this. But it's a real game changer. The other thing, I have a personal preference, and that is I am a fan of the larger overhang. Most people in the pole barn world, they just want a 1 foot. Everybody says, just give me a 1 foot overhang. On a larger building, especially if it's tall, the additional overhang, bump that overhang line out 18 inches to 24 inches, gives the building a little bit of a classier look. It will increase the cost. The difference between a 1 foot overhang and say a 2 foot overhang on a building like this, maybe $500 to $800 to get this a little bit larger overhang and soffit. And then you can see on the outside here just how those windows really make the building much more charming. Anyway, happy barn building out there. Thanks.